everybody. Hey, everybody. The last few weeks have been really exciting and productive at CubbyVanLife.
Are you going to tell us about it in a minute?
Hey, everybody. Why, you didn't like that part?
No.
Why?
Let's do it again.
Hey, everybody. The last few weeks have been really exciting and productive at CubbyVanLife. And we'll tell you all about it in a minute. But first, I want to tell you where we were yesterday.
And where were we yesterday?
We went to Tucumcari, New Mexico. We've been there before, but this time was a little bit more interesting.
So when we first pulled into town, we drove to this parking lot that seemed to be in the center of what might have once been downtown Tucumcari, and it felt like a scene from the last picture show, except it was in vivid color rather than black and white, and we didn't see another soul around. It felt completely...
We saw one car drive through, just one.
I mean, it was like a ghost town. But the cool thing was the buildings there, these old buildings were just beautiful, and that part of town is just surrounded by these incredible, huge murals.
Beautiful murals, just beautiful. And most of them seem to be painted by a local couple, Doug and Sharon Quarles.
There were other murals in town as well, painted by the Quarles. And wow, it was really worth getting off the highway just to see that.
Most of the murals are scenes of New Mexico. They're like deserts, they're lakes, cowboys. They're really beautiful, and they're huge. I mean, they're like a city block.
But if you go up to the main drag, which is Old Route 66, that's where you're gonna really see some cool stuff. Now, when you first come into town, you might be put off by the abandoned, closed businesses, gas stations.
There's a
quite a few hotels that are closed. But believe me, if you park your car and get out and walk up and down Route 66, you're gonna see some really cool stuff that you wouldn't see driving by at 50 miles an hour.
Right, right.
There's some really interesting retro buildings and businesses paying homage to the glory days of Route 66.
Where there were hotels and motels everywhere, from the beginning of Route 66 all the way to the end. It was like the motor era where people were driving. So there are just tons of little motels. There
is just an incredible motel there called the Safari Motel. They have really done an amazing job at bringing the Googie era back to life. I just love this place. I'm not going to tell you what Googie is. You can look it up. If we weren't just passing through, I think I definitely want to stay there. So if you're blasting through on I-40 through New Mexico, I would highly recommend, if you have the time, to get off the highway for just an hour or so. Drive on Old Route 66 in Tucumcari. There are so many towns along Route 66 that are really struggling to try to keep up that kind of mystique of the old classic days. Get off the highway, get out of your car, walk, check it out. Highly worth it. But that's not what we're here to talk about in this video. We're here to talk about the exciting developments of the last few weeks.
And what did we do?
Well, after spending, how long?
3 months in beautiful Baja, Mexico.
Yes, we were in Baja, Mexico, and that was just fabulous. But that's a whole other video. After spending 3 months there, we returned to Albuquerque for the last several weeks. We've been there. And the reason is because for the past 2 years living on the road in the Cubby van, we decided that it was time to give up that storage unit.
It wasn't very big, but it was packed.
That's right. When we first hit the road 2 years ago, we thought that we'd be on the road for a couple months, maybe as long as a year, and then we'd find a place to live, or find a house. We'd go back to Albuquerque to the storage unit and get our stuff out of storage. Well, I'm happy to say that we are now beginning 3 years on the road in CubbyVanLife, and we already have the whole rest of the year planned. We'll tell you about that in a minute. But we decided we're not in any hurry to settle down or to get a house, and we're just paying on the storage unit. So we went back to Albuquerque. We spent about 3 or 4 days going through that storage unit. We had a huge yard sale, and then I spent about the next 9 or 10 days selling everything that we owned. We stayed at our friends Pete and Katrina's house, and thanks to them, I don't know how else we would have done it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Nice seeing you guys again.
Cheers.
To New Mexico and to the Nardinis.
Yes.
Cheers. To the Hughes.
To the Hughes.
Back together again.
Wow, that's amazing. That is delicious. We also undertook some major renovations of the Cubby van.
Hey everybody, we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we're staying with some friends. And Glenn is doing major renovations on the Cubby van. Let's go and see what he's doing. Come on, I'll show you, come on. Wow, hey, what are you doing?
Finishing installing these security bars that I bought on Amazon in this back window. And the reason is not because of security, but because we had our mattress here and then our pillows on top of the mattress. And we like to sit up and read in bed at night. And the problem was with the window open, the pillows when we were sitting up would fall out the window. But perhaps more importantly, when we have this blind up here and we were sitting against it, we'd be pressing against the blind and kept knocking it off the track. I knew I was going to eventually ruin this blind. So now, with these security bars here, we're going to be able to sit up in bed, no problem, and still move the blind up and down. So that was something we learned from our first 2 years on the road.
That was a great solution. It really was.
Well, thank you. About $40 for these security bars. They're pretty cool. But the next thing I'm going to do today is deal with this situation over here. So what we have here is a little storage area, and underneath the storage area is our water tank. And a couple weeks ago, we developed a leak in this, and it seems like it only leaks when we fill it up. So it may be a loose connection up here or something. I don't know. I'm going to have to fill this up today. I'm going to have to find that leak and fix that leak. Such is life on the road. These things happen. And then when I'm done with that, you may notice that this area is currently pretty empty. And that is because after spending 3 months in Baja driving mostly on sand and on some pretty precarious off-road tracks, we realized that the van was just too heavy. I think the gross vehicle weight on this van is around 8,400 pounds, and filled up with water and fuel and everything, we were at about 7,400. So we had a little bit of leeway. It wasn't too bad, but it just felt heavy, you know. This beautiful cabinet that I had built matched the rest of the van. It was really nice, but you know, that thing was just so heavy, we decided to just get rid of it. So I tore that out yesterday, threw it out to the curbside with a free sign on it. I hope somebody takes it. If not, I guess I'm going to have to cut it up and take it to the dump. But what we did was we went to Target and we bought some El Cheapo plastic drawer units that we're going to install in here. They weigh almost nothing. They weigh about 5 pounds a piece, something like that. It's going to drastically reduce the weight in the van. I don't know what we're going to do for the garage area yet, but it's a work in progress, and that's what I'm working on. It's really nice to have a place to stay for a couple of weeks. Very good friends who let us use their house to do this. I don't know how else I would do it otherwise. Our good friends Pete and Katrina, because we no longer own a home. We live full-time in here, and sometimes you just need to boondock for a couple of weeks and find a place to work on your van. That's what we're doing. Partial renovation of the van. It's a big job. Stay tuned. We'll see how it turns out. Okay, this is a friggin' mess. Turns out that the leak is either in the back or on the bottom of the water tank. So I'm having to take the entire water tank out of the van. What a pain in the ass.
Did you find the leak?
Oh yeah, I found it.
What'd you find?
I had to completely destruct the van to do it. What I found is
I see that.
a flaw in the workmanship of this tank. And it's right there in the corner, which is why it only leaked when I filled it up.
Well, that's not good.
No, that's not good at all.
What are you going to do?
Well, I'm going to try to repair it, I guess, with something. I don't know what to repair this plastic with, but I'm also going to contact the company. I don't know what kind of warranty's on this thing, but At any rate, I'm going to put a link to the company in the description below. And also, I'll let you know what I find out from them, if they're going to honor a warranty or not. I'm only here a couple more days, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But there you go. Such is life on the road. Okay, so I talked to Sarah over at TitanDIYKits.com, because this is a Titan kit tank, and she advised me to plastic weld this, but it's a little tiny spot, and really I did not feel comfortable using a soldering iron around plastic on my water tank. So what I did was I got some JB Weld water weld, and we put it down in there, and we're going to wait for half an hour or so and see how it holds, because it hardens pretty quickly. I've used it before to great effect. But at any rate, I'm still in communications with her, because I told her what happened, and there's no warranty offered on this thing, but they may offer me some money back or a new tank. I don't know. I'll let you know what happens, and let's take it from there. Oh, pretty nice and sturdy now. So I got the renovation complete, and we have finally replaced that big drawer unit that I had in here that was really quite heavy with this El Cheapo plastic, these two different plastic things that we bought at Target. And honestly, I think this is going to turn out pretty well. We have a lot of storage here now. This is super light, but yet it still feels pretty sturdy because I have it all screwed in. So it's not going anywhere. It's really nice and sturdy. It also gave us an additional advantage of more room in the garage. I have about 6 inches of extra room back there because this drawer unit is narrower. So I think this is going to work out really well. Who knows? I don't even know if it'll last a year, but it's going to make the next year in the Cubby van a lot lighter and enjoyable in that sense. I also installed a 12-volt outlet here finally. We used to just have an extension cord here that ran back to our inverter, so I installed that. So that's going to make things a lot more convenient too as well. And I did get the water tank fixed, but guess what? Titan DIY kits came through with shining colors. They are my hero in this, because I told them what happened with the tank. I told them I believed it was a flaw. I did not have a warranty. I've had it for 3 years. The return policy is 30 days. But guess what? They sent me a brand new tank. So I want to thank Sarah and all the folks at Titan DIY Kits for coming through and doing the right thing and replacing my faulty water tank. I would highly recommend buying one of these and working with this company. They're great people to deal with. I'm not getting paid to say that. I just had a wonderful experience with them. So thank you again. And now here's to 3 years in the Cubby van. We're about to go on a great adventure. Year 3 is going to be really exciting because it's the start of a big adventure as the official Harvest Host Ale Blazers. That's us. And so what we're going to do is we're going to spend the next 7 months traveling around the United States. We're going from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Maine, and then from Maine to Seattle, Washington. And we're going to be visiting Harvest Host brewery locations. How sweet is that? We're going to be bringing you reviews and videos from all the breweries that we visit around the United States that you can stay at as a Harvest Host member. And I got to tell you, it is really exciting, and there are some really cool places. Stick around with us, subscribe to CubbyVanLife channel, also subscribe to the Harvest Host channel where a number of these videos are going to be shown. We'll be sharing them also on our Instagram account and the Harvest Host Instagram account as well.
And if you don't know what Harvest Host is, you should look it up, because you can stay at wineries, breweries, cheeseries, golf places, museums, all kind of interesting venues.
This is not an ad for Harvest Host, I promise you. We're just learning to love it and want to pass it on.
If you want a discount, we'll put in the link below.
We'll tell you all about that in future videos, but we hope you stick around with us and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and join us for the next 7 months on the road, visiting breweries from here to Maine and then Maine to Seattle. Anything else we want to say about that?
Here's to 3 years on the road, and we'll see you down the road.
Yep, see you down the road.